Today I'm going to be telling a story. It's called The Lockdown. Andrea was a 16-year-old and she was getting out of control for her mom to handle her. She was skipping school, getting into a lot of trouble, and before this, she was a good kid. Her mom felt like something was off, but she realized that she couldn't help her, so she calls Andrea's dad. And Andrea, she loves her dad, but she also has a lot of anger towards her dad. So he decides that he's going to help her. So she ends up going with him and she's angry over it. She's like, I don't want to go. And the mom's like, you're going to go. You need this. So Andrea goes to pack, and Jack, which is her dad, is talking to Lena, the mom, and she tells him, she's like, I know something's not right with our daughter. He tells her, he said, well, don't you remember when we were teenagers? We would get into stuff, and she's like, this isn't normal teenage behavior. So the mom just wants to help her daughter in any way she can. Andrea, though, is not happy and tries to run away, but the dad grabs her and he tells her, he says, you're coming with me. This is what's best for you. She goes with him. And like I said, the kid's angry. And she tells the dad, she's like, I'm going to go for a walk. And he tells her, he says, well, that's fine, but you better be back by 7. So when she's going on a walk, she actually meets one they've been friends since they were kids, and she sees him again. And he goes on a walk with her, and they're talking, catching up. And she tells him that, she's sorry she's been away for so long, because they were really good friends growing up. And he tells her what he's been up to, that his parents got a divorce. So just, catching up. And as they're walking together, she asks him for the time, and he tells her. And she's like, oh, I better get going. So she goes home, and all of a sudden, she shuts the door, and she realizes that something is not right. So she goes and she's hollering for her dad, but he's not responding, and she thinks that that's weird. And then all of a sudden in her house, she sees a couple of guys, and they start running after her. And she's running, but they end up grabbing her. And she finds out that they tell her that they're inmates that have escaped. And her dad is a prison guard. So they take her in the house and they tie her up beside her dad. Well, Ricky, who is an inmate, tells him, he says, You better listen to everything I say, and this will go smoothly. Then he looks at Jack and he says, "Do you remember me?" And Jack goes, "Yeah." He said, "You were mean to all of us." And Jack goes, "That's not true." And Andrea, she goes, "What's he talking about, Dad?" Well, Jack has been a prison guard for years, and he has mistreated the inmates, even the ones that it turns out that they were innocent. So, Rick, he's only 18, and he got put in prison because his stepdad was hurting his mom, and so he killed him, and that's why he got put in prison. And so Rick tells him, he said, "I did what I had to defend my mom." And Jack goes, "Listen, this is my daughter, and I just want her to be safe." And Rick goes, "As long as you do everything that we say." But then one of the inmates, his name is Joseph, and he is really mean. He tells him, he says, "Why don't we just have a little bit of fun with the girl?" And Rick goes, "No, we are not doing that, because that would prove that we're monsters, and we're not." Which, Joseph is a bad guy. So they're looking around trying to find anything that they can as far as money or anything. And so they ask Jack where his money is, and he tells them in the bank. So Rick tells them, "Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the bank. They're going to go with you, and I'll stay with the girl." And at this point, Jack's like, "No." Rick tells him, he said, "You don't have a choice." He tells him, he said, "You better not hurt my daughter." Rick says, "I won't lay a finger on her pretty head as long as you do what I say." So they all go, and Rick stays behind with Andrea. And she's in a panic, so she's having a very bad panic attack. And he's telling her, like, "It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay." She's like, "But you kidnapped us. How are you going to say that we're going to be okay?" He's like, "As long as he does everything we say, you're going to be okay." Andrea, though, has a lot of anxiety because of what happened to her a couple of years ago. And it's also what changed everything for her. And that is where I'm going to end part 1 of the story. And I will come back in the next video and I will finish it. Thank you guys for watching.